Welcome to Discover Top 5, where we bring you the most jaw-dropping, mind-blowing, and eye-opening facts from around the world. If you love exploring the hidden truths behind every corner, city, or topic, you're in the right place. From the most dangerous places on Earth to the fascinating secrets that the media won't tell you, we uncover the stories that you've never heard before and show you a world that's a little darker, a lot more complex, and maybe even a bit more thrilling than you thought. In today's episode, we're diving deep into a topic that affects millions of people every day, the rising tide of crime sweeping through some of America's largest cities. You might think you know which cities are facing the biggest challenges when it comes to crime, but trust me, the truth is far more disturbing than the headlines suggest. What if the danger you've been hearing about isn't just a statistic, but a reality lived by families every single day? What if entire neighborhoods, once thriving, have now become battlegrounds for survival? We're going to take you inside these cities and give you an unfiltered look at what's really happening. From the towering skyscrapers of Chicago to the historic streets of New Orleans, the truth about these cities is darker than you could ever imagine. Cities that were once symbols of culture, innovation, and pride are now plagued by violence and fear. Families are fleeing, communities are crumbling, and law enforcement is struggling to keep up. But what's causing the surge in crime? And what does it mean for the future of these cities? Stay with us, because we're about to uncover the hard truths behind some of the most dangerous places in America. Now, this isn't just another top 5 dangerous cities list you've seen before. We're going deeper. We're going to show you why these cities are spiraling out of control and what life is really like for the people who live there. Why are entire blocks covered in security cameras? Why are kids wearing bulletproof backpacks to school? What happens when crime becomes so normal that it's part of the daily routine? We'll take you through each city, revealing the shocking facts that you won't hear anywhere else. These aren't just statistics, these are real people, real families, trying to survive in environments where fear has become a way of life. We're going to expose the truth and cover the stories that the media is afraid to tell, and let you decide what happens next. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video from Discover Top 5. Let's uncover the truth together. Discover Top 5. Stay informed, stay curious.
As you step outside in Chicago, the atmosphere is charged with a sense of urgency. Sirens are often heard in the distance, helicopters circle overhead, and there's a palpable tension hanging in the air. Once celebrated for its towering skyline, Chicago is now haunted by a darker reality. In 2023, the city recorded over 650 homicides and thousands more shootings, many of which occurred in broad daylight. It's not just the crime statistics that are shocking, it's the normalization of violence in some neighborhoods. Areas where gunfire is as common as car engines starting. Families are installing motion sensors, security cameras, and steel doors just to feel safe at home. For many, it's a grim reality that gunshots are part of daily life. Kids walk to school wearing bulletproof backpacks, while tourists snap selfies in the downtown area, blissfully unaware of the looming danger just a few miles away. The question remains, how did one of the country's cultural and architectural capitals become a battleground? The answer isn't simple. Experts point to a combination of poverty, gang violence, and the lack of sufficient law enforcement. When a city known for jazz, art, and deep dish pizza is overwhelmed by violence, what happens to its spirit? Chicago's transformation from a symbol of prosperity to a war zone is both tragic and thought-provoking. St. Louis isn't just another city on a list, it's one that consistently ranks among the most dangerous places in America. With a violent crime rate 5 times the national average, St. Louis has earned its reputation as a city where danger lurks at every corner. It's not just about late-night crime either. Violence can erupt at any time, even during the day when you least expect it. Imagine sitting on your front porch at noon, only to witness a robbery or even a shooting unfold right before your eyes. This is the unfortunate norm in some neighborhoods in St. Louis. In 2023, the city recorded over 330 homicides, and many locals claim they've grown used to the fear. For some, survival is no longer a choice, it's a routine. What makes this city even more chilling is that it's home to both extremes, beauty and brutality. The Gateway Arch, once a symbol of American innovation, now stands as a silent witness to the decay of its surroundings. Once thriving neighborhoods, famous for their jazz clubs and waterfront views, now face near-daily gun violence, carjackings, and assaults. What went wrong? Long-standing issues like poverty, racial tensions, and a broken criminal justice system have turned St. Louis into a place where crime feels like an unstoppable force. Despite the resilience of the people, the situation is dire. This city's story is a reminder of how quickly a place can spiral into chaos when resources, trust, and leadership disappear.
Baltimore, once a proud hub of East Coast industry and culture, now finds itself gripped by a crime wave that doesn't seem to slow down. In 2023, Baltimore saw more than 330 homicides, and the violence doesn't discriminate, it happens everywhere. Carjackings, robberies, and shootings happen in broad daylight. Convenience stores, once safe for quick errands, are now crime hotspots. People who once strolled the streets of Baltimore are now planning their every move like a military operation, constantly worried about becoming the next victim. Once a thriving port city, Baltimore's culture is now overshadowed by the safety crisis that plagues its neighborhoods. Police response times have lengthened, the trust between citizens and authorities has eroded, and the city's population continues to shrink as families flee in search of safety. What caused this decline? Experts point to a combination of economic hardship, racial inequality, and an overworked police force. For some, it's not just about the crime, it's about the psychological toll it takes. The sense of normalcy has been replaced by fear. The vacant row houses that line the streets now serve as a grim reminder of a once flourishing community that is now just a shell of its former self. In Detroit, the decay of once vibrant neighborhoods has become a symbol of the city's larger decline. Known as Motor City, Detroit was once the beating heart of American industry, but by 2023, the city had recorded over 14,000 violent crimes, including 270 homicides. The crumbling remnants of abandoned factories and houses dot the cityscape, giving it an eerie, post-apocalyptic feel. The collapse of the auto industry and years of economic downturn have left many communities without jobs or hope, fueling a surge in violent crime. And while downtown Detroit has seen some revitalization, the neighborhoods outside the city center are still struggling with overwhelming crime. Police often struggle to respond to emergencies, with response times becoming increasingly delayed. The fear is so pervasive that some residents don't even call 911 anymore, believing that help may not come at all. For many in Detroit, the emotional toll of crime is as heavy as the physical danger they face daily. It's not just about the criminal activity, it's about a city that can't seem to recover from the devastation it's faced for decades. In Oakland, once a haven for creativity and activism, crime now runs rampant. In 2023, the city recorded over 7,300 violent crimes, including 120 homicides. What's even more alarming is the frequency and boldness of these crimes, many of which happen during the daytime. Carjackings are occurring in broad daylight, and people are being attacked while simply running errands or walking their children home from school. Locals have grown accustomed to the sound of gunfire in their neighborhoods, and many business owners say they have to lock down their shops not just at night, but all day long. While some blame the homelessness crisis, others point to rising drug-related crimes and police understaffing as contributing factors. Oakland's rapid descent into violence is a cautionary tale of how quickly a once vibrant city can spiral out of control. Despite being synonymous with jazz, Creole cuisine, and Mardi Gras, New Orleans is struggling with an alarming uptick in violence. In 2023, the city saw one of the highest murder rates per capita in the U.S., with over 200 homicides. Armed robberies, carjackings, and assaults are becoming a part of everyday life, with even schoolchildren and tourists not immune to the violence. The once cherished cultural landmarks now sit in the shadow of widespread fear. What happened? Many point to the rapid decline of the police force, which has lost hundreds of officers in recent years. With fewer officers and a rise in desperation due to poverty and drug addiction, New Orleans is becoming a battleground where residents feel abandoned by those sworn to protect them. In Cleveland, crime has become so routine that it's no longer newsworthy. In 2023, Cleveland reported over 5,300 violent crimes, including nearly 150 homicides. But what's even more disturbing is how quickly violence has become normalized in the minds of residents. For some, it's no longer a matter of if a crime will occur, but when. Once a proud industrial city, Cleveland's economic collapse has led to widespread poverty, leaving entire communities without hope. What's worse is the breakdown of trust between the residents and the authorities. Residents have lost faith in the police, and many don't even report minor crimes anymore because they know nothing will be done. Cleveland's neighborhoods, once full of thriving families, are now riddled with vacant homes and desperation. Philadelphia, also known as the city of brotherly love, has become a hotbed of violence. In 2023, the city saw 400 homicides and over 14,500 violent crimes. What's more disturbing is the fact that these incidents are happening in broad daylight. Even near schools and supermarkets, the violence is widespread and affects not just residents, but also the city's infrastructure. Hospitals are treating trauma victims on a daily basis, and schools are on lockdown more often than ever before. The police department is stretched thin, and despite some community outreach programs, the violence continues to rise. In Memphis, gunshots echo down quiet streets, and violent crime has surged. In 2023, Memphis recorded over 17,000 violent crimes, with nearly 400 homicides, one of the highest rates in the nation. Even during the day, carjackings and robberies have become common, leaving residents feeling increasingly unsafe in their own city. Poverty has played a large role in the surge of crime, as economic hardship has left many with few choices. Yet, police are overwhelmed, and crime continues to escalate, leaving the people of Memphis in a constant state of fear and uncertainty.
And that wraps up our deep dive into some of the most dangerous cities in America. We've seen how quickly things can spiral out of control, how crime can take over one's thriving communities, and how the people living in these cities are doing everything they can just to survive. It's a harsh reality, but it's one that needs to be acknowledged. From the streets of Chicago to the heart of New Orleans, the truth about what's happening in these cities is something we can no longer ignore. We've pulled back the curtain on what's really going on, and now it's up to all of us to be aware, to stay informed, and ask the tough questions. What's going to happen next? What can we do to help change things? While we might not have all the answers right now, one thing's for sure: the conversation needs to continue. But that's the power of knowledge, right? When we open our eyes to the truth, we empower ourselves and those around us to make better choices, to seek better solutions, and to demand more from our leaders. The stories we've shared today are a wake-up call, a reminder that no city, no community is invulnerable to the dangers of neglect, poverty, and violence. But it's also a chance for us to come together and raise awareness. Even in the darkest of times, communities are coming together, finding ways to rebuild, to support one another, and to make sure that fear doesn't define them. People are standing up, taking action, and making a difference. And as much as we've seen the struggles, we've also seen the hope, and that's something we must never lose sight of. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Discover Top 5. We bring you content like this, thought-provoking, sometimes shocking, but always real, week after week. Our goal is to keep digging deep, uncovering the stories you won't find anywhere else, and challenging the narrative to give you a true understanding of the world we live in. So, hit that bell icon and join the Discover Top 5 community. We're just getting started, and there's a lot more to uncover. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and spread the word. Share it with friends, family, and anyone who needs to know what's happening on the ground. The more we share these stories, the more we can spark real change. This is just the beginning, and there are many more hidden truths to explore. Thank you for being a part of Discover Top 5 today. We're not just a channel, we're a community of truth seekers, and it's because of you that we can keep bringing these stories to light. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, the world is full of stories waiting to be uncovered, and together we can make sure we never miss one. Until next time, you've been watching Discover Top 5.